You attempted to destroy me with lies. But today, I reclaim my power. The words reverberated through the quiet courtroom like thunder booming across a quiet sky. Even the judge stopped. The courtroom came to a standstill. Every camera eye swung toward Meri Brown, standing strong behind the plaintiff's podium, her chin high, her hands unshaking. A media frenzy had been building outside the courthouse since morning. TLC's Sister Wives fans camped out behind barricades, waving signs with supportive messages. "We believe you, Meri," and "Truth over ties." The sidewalk was swarmed by reporters like a beehive, calling out questions and taking pictures as Meri swept through the doors with quiet, determined poise. But now, in this overcrowded courtroom, she was more than a reality show celebrity. She was not a cast-off wife. She was not a victim. She was a woman on a quest for justice. Behind her sat her attorney, a woman known for defending high-profile clients in defamation suits. And just across the room, sitting side by side at the defendant's table, were the faces that once defined Meri's world: Kody Brown, her former husband, and Robyn Brown, the woman Meri had once welcomed into the family. Their faces spoke volumes. Kody's typical bluster had bled away into awkwardness. His lips were pinched, his shoulders rigid. Robyn was glaring at the table, blinking furiously as if trying to sob on demand, her default move in crisis family scenes. But Meri did not look at them. She looked at the judge, the jury, and the reality she had spent years waiting to finally voice out loud. "The opening, Your Honor, members of the jury," Meri started, her tone tranquil but rich. "I am standing here today, not only for myself, but for all women who have ever been brought down by the people with whom she trusted most." Some jurors nodded minimally. One elderly lady leaned forward with compassion in her eyes. "For more than 30 years, I was a member of a family of millions that millions of people watched on TV. We created a public life as a family, and we peddled an image of love and togetherness. But out of the camera's view, the reality was much more agonizing." Meri shifted slightly, finally looking at Kody and Robyn. "I was mocked, cast aside, emotionally neglected. But I remained silent. For the children, for the show, for peace. I remained silent when Robyn muttered to producers that I was unstable. I remained silent when Kody insulted me as damaged goods in TLC meetings." The courtroom audience shifted uncomfortably. But silence gave them authority. It enabled them to go about spreading lies with impunity. They lied to friends and said I was emotionally hazardous. They lied to fans and said I was bitter. And perhaps worst of all, they implied that I had participated in criminal behavior just to force me out. Meri's attorney stood and handed her a pile of papers. Meri poured through them methodically, holding up the printed messages and emails. Most from Robyn, a few from Kody. "These are just a few of the things they said about me when I wasn't around. And yet, I couldn't defend myself. Because the minute I tried to stand up for myself, they labeled me a problem." The personal cost. Meri's voice was shaking, not with weakness, but with the accumulation of years past. "I lost my status in the family. I lost the business deals I built. My name, my reputation, and my dignity were taken away, not by strangers, but by individuals I used to call my family." She paused to breathe, then went on. "Told that I needed to go to therapy, that I was too intense. Needed to apologize for hurting Kody, as he flaunted having a new favorite and stripped me from every important decision. While Robyn stole the financial discussions silently, controlled every narrative, whispered venom into everyone's ear, until I was left alone." Meri held the jury's gaze before continuing. "This lawsuit isn't about bitterness. It's not about jealousy, it's about accountability." The gossip that shattered her life. Her attorney approached the bench and asked permission to present the first round of evidence. A printed blog post, widely circulated months earlier, headlined "Sources Say Meri Brown Was Removed from Family Business Due to Erratic Behavior." The blog quoted anonymous insiders, who Meri's team claimed were connected directly to Robyn. A second article appeared, "Meri Brown's Bed and Breakfast in Jeopardy After Criminal Rumors Emerge." The article quoted no criminal history, no evidence, only sources. But the deed was done. Reservations at her bed and breakfast decreased. Longtime friends messaged asking if she was okay. Some went so far as to say she was losing her grip. I was not unstable, Meri insisted. I was grieving. I was hurt. And I was being sabotaged behind my back. The final push to court. Meri explained that for years she tried to resolve the issue privately. She had conversations with Kody, tearful, pleading conversations, begging him to stop allowing Robyn to undermine her in public and private. But he refused to get involved. You're imagining things, he said. You're always starting drama, Robyn added. You need to work on yourself, was the line repeated like a weapon. Meri explained she finally lost her temper when she realized a TLC producer had been instructed she was no longer mentally capable of filming. Those words cost her appearances, airtime, and future earnings. And she had evidence the origin of that rumor was Robyn. That's what pushed her over the edge. And that's when she realized this wasn't betrayal, it was war. Her powerful closing to the jury. Meri moved closer to the jury box. I thought for years that if I just kept my mouth shut, everything would improve. But it didn't. It worsened. Because some folks just quit when you make them. She spoke in a low tone, measured and biting. I am not crazy. I am not unstable. I am not irrelevant. I am a woman who was gaslighted, erased, and slandered. And I am done being silent. She addressed Kody and Robyn a final time. I know now that you never wanted peace. You wanted silence. And I gave it to you. For too long. Meri addressed the jury once more. But I'm not here for revenge. I'm here for truth. And I trust you'll see mine. She sat down again as the judge asked for a brief recess. The courtroom hummed like a disturbed beehive. The reporters wrote frantically. Even the bailiff seemed stunned. Meri didn't grin. She didn't smirk. She just sat, serene, peaceful, and authoritative. For the first time in years she wasn't on trial in public opinion. She was in charge. And the truth belonged to her to tell. The courtroom still murmured when the judge brought everyone back to their senses. Meri Brown had just given one of the most stunning opening statements ever to appear in a televised courtroom drama. But what followed would rock the courtroom and social media. Her lawyers were prepared to bring out the source of the smear campaign. And all hands pointed to one woman, Robyn Brown. Whisper campaigns and digital footprints. As the jury returned, and the judge gave a nod, Meri's lead attorney, a sharp and composed woman in a blue pantsuit, rose from her seat. Ladies and gentlemen, she began, we will now present documented proof that Robyn Brown intentionally spread false gossip and manipulated public opinion in a deliberate effort to destroy my client's reputation. She motioned to a screen at the front of the courtroom. Displayed was a series of text messages, emails, and anonymous tips sent to bloggers, entertainment reporters, and even TLC staffers. The source behind these digital footprints, an email address tied to Robyn's assistant. Meri's behavior has become increasingly erratic. One email read, "We're worried she may harm herself or others." Gasps echoed from the public gallery. A juror put her hand over her mouth. Kody and Robyn were confronted only 1 week before Meri sent out this message. The lawyer said, coincidence or strategic planning? She clicked once more. Fake tips and tabloid lies. Next up, headlines. A dozen or so. Meri Brown spiraling. Family worried about her mental health. Kody's ex-wife at risk of losing her B&B after shocking behavior. Meri may be under investigation. Sources say none of these reports were verified. None of them used named sources. But all of them shared one thing in common. They materialized soon after Meri was witnessed speaking out openly on her Instagram live streams. These weren't opportunistic attacks, her lawyer said. They were planned leaks intended to ostracize Meri, hurt her brand, and switch public opinion against her. The jury watched as the lawyer presented timelines, connecting the dots between Meri's most vulnerable public moments and sudden media attacks. The in-house enemy, Robyn's private messages exposed. Then came the most damning evidence of all. A series of private messages from Robyn's personal phone obtained legally during discovery. One text to a TLC field producer read, "I truly believe it's time for Meri to take a break from filming. She's in a strange place in her head. Not healthy vibes for the kids or the show." Another to Kody, "If she continues to push, I'll need to intervene. She's not safe to have around at the moment." And the most dramatic message, "We can't let her ruin what we've built. She's a loose cannon. If the crew asks, just say we're worried about her. No need for details." Meri's jaw clenched. But she didn't cry. She let the truth do the talking. Psychological warfare, Meri's lawyer continued. This wasn't just gossip. It was psychological warfare. Robyn fed these lies until even the people closest to Meri started to doubt her. One of Meri's past business partners was called in to testify. I recall Robyn phoning me late one evening, said the partner. She said, I don't want to frighten you, but I'm worried about how Meri's behaving. Perhaps you should pull out of the deal, as a precaution. That call cost Meri a six-figure business deal involving her bed and breakfast. The damage wasn't just emotional. It was financial, professional, and deeply personal. Financial motive? The Coyote Pass connection. Then came the twist nobody expected. The motive behind Robyn's sabotage. Meri's team presented documents showing that Robyn had been working with Kody to restructure ownership of Coyote Pass, the massive piece of land the Brown family had long argued over. Meri was promised a section of this land, the attorney said. But once she was labeled unstable and not family material, her name was quietly removed from future plans. The jury saw the proof, an internal family meeting memo, handwritten by Kody, listing future home sites. Meri's name wasn't on it. Robyn's was, twice. This wasn't about personal vendetta. It was a premeditated money game to eliminate Meri and gain a greater share. A perilous lie about the children. And if this wasn't enough, the most chilling testimony came from a fired nanny who had been employed in the Brown family for 2 years. One day I overheard Robyn speaking to her older daughter. She said, if you catch Meri being strange, just come to me. Don't be in a room alone with her. She's not healthy right now. The nanny's voice broke. The child was scared. I don't think she even knew what was going on. But Robyn instilled that fear. Tears prickled in Meri's eyes. But still, she remained calm. She made me the villain in a home I helped build. Meri told her attorney in a hushed voice. A web of manipulation. The jury heard how a pattern repeated itself. Robyn disseminated private anxieties to public media. She distanced Meri emotionally, even from her own children and stepchildren. She seized control of family decision-making, all while sabotaging Meri's mental health behind the scenes. And to top it all off, Kody tolerated it. Time and again, his words reverberated in the testimony. Just let Robyn handle it. Perhaps Meri isn't stable enough at this moment. Let's move on. End of testimony. The jury responds. Several jurors appeared visibly shaken by the end of the second day of the trial. One shook her head in incredulity. Another took pages of notes. Social media went wild with hashtags. #Justice for Meri. #Robyn exposed. #Brown. Family cover-up. #Meri speaks. Truth. Meri quietly left the courtroom, her head held high. The press bombarded her, but she made no statement. In the courtroom, Robyn finally reached her breaking point. But her tears were too late. The courtroom was thick with tension as the clerk called the next witness. All rise for the witness, Kody Brown. Meri didn't flinch, her gaze straight ahead, her breathing even. She'd waited years to come to this day. Now the man who had vowed to love her forever was being summoned to testify, not as her husband but as the man accused of shattering her. Kody Brown took the witness stand in a gray suit. His trademark curls dampened slightly, but his face still sharp. He shifted uncomfortably, not upset, not melancholy, simply frustrated that he had to be here. He held up his right hand. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. The oath seemed insincere. The cross-examination begins. Meri's attorney stood up. She was carrying a thick folder marked Brown Family Internal Communications, and walked slowly. Mr. Brown, she started. You were married to Meri Brown for more than 30 years, right? Kody nodded. Yes, legally for 24, spiritually thereafter, until we weren't. And throughout that period, did you ever indicate concerns regarding the mental health of Meri to TLC staff or to members of your own family? He stared directly ahead. I don't remember making particular statements. The lawyer smiled rigidly. You don't remember stating Meri was emotionally unstable and no longer an asset to the show? I don't speak in words like that, Kody retorted with a self-satisfied shrug. That sounds like someone else, not me. The lawyer addressed the judge. Your Honor, leave to play Exhibit 12, a taped production meeting. Leave granted. A screen lit up. It was a behind-the-scenes clip, never aired by TLC. The timestamp in the corner showed it was from 2 years ago. Kody sat at a production roundtable, gesturing wildly. Mary's energy is just bad TV now, Kody said on screen. She's depressing to be around. We've done everything to help her, but she's just too much. It's probably best if she fades out naturally. A gasp of collective shock spread through the courtroom. Meri glanced down, not out of shame, but out of hurt. The words still hurt, even when a group of strangers heard them in a courtroom. The clip went on. She makes filming tense. The crew shuns her. I told Robyn, let's just let her out. If she wants to go, let her. If she remains, well, we'll make it uncomfortable. The screen flickered back to black. Kody's excuses don't hold water. Mr. Brown, the lawyer said slowly, you just testified in this court that you never spoke like that. Would you care to clarify your testimony? Kody squirmed. I was venting. That was a private talk. With TLC executives, she added. In a planned meeting. About Mary's future. You referred to her as a liability. On camera, Kody ran a hand through his hair. Look, I was angry. She and I weren't functioning anymore. It's not like she was working at it either. Mary's attorney did not blink. So your answer was to embarrass her? To undermine her behind the scenes? Kody's voice grew defensive. She had already emotionally checked out. Everyone could see it. Even Robyn. We were just finished trying. But Meri wasn't finished trying, snapped the attorney. She was pleading to be heard, while you were planning to wipe her out. The emails that sealed the truth. Then Mary's attorneys brought forward a batch of internal family emails. In one exchange, dated just weeks before Mary's segment was removed from the show, Kody wrote to the family, we need a more cohesive image. Meri is creating too much uncertainty for viewers. If she's going to remain, she must remain silent. Another email revealed Robyn forwarding tabloid links to Kody, who replied, let them go with it. People won't question it. It fits what they already believe. And the most incriminating, the less she speaks the better for us. Don't debunk the rumors. The jury sat in shock. Kody's chilling indifference. The lawyer sat for a moment, then asked the question on everyone's lips. Mr. Brown, do you have any sense of responsibility for the way you presented Meri, publicly or privately? Kody's answer was chilling in its lack of emotion. I did what I had to do to protect the family image, he replied. Matter-of-factly, the show was under pressure. Viewers weren't relating to her anymore. That's not my fault. Meri blinked at the absence of remorse, thought that shutting her up, embarrassing her, and letting Robyn dictate what happened was warranted. Kody held up his hands. I think we were trying to move on. Some individuals do not know how to release. The reaction of the jury, and Robyn's first cracks as Kody testified. Tension filled the courtroom. Two jurors openly frowned. One mouthed something to another, and the bailiff had to request silence. In the defendant's chair, Robyn began to shift nervously. Her arms were crossed, her head tilted toward Kody with wide eyes, as if silently pleading, stop talking. But Kody didn't stop. He was unraveling his own defense, word by word. Mary's attorney delivers the final blow. With the jury now fully aware of Kody's attitude, the attorney took a final step. She gave him a printed fan letter. The court had confirmed it was from a dedicated viewer. Dear Meri, we miss having you on the show. Sorry they forced you out. You were always the heart. Robyn doesn't deceive us. Neither does Kody. Do you get it? The attorney asked quietly. That people still believed there was value in Meri, even when you didn't. Kody shrugged. That's their opinion. The courtroom went silent as a tomb. A man without remorse. By the time he finished testifying, the jury had heard enough. Kody Brown had been revealed not only as a man who spoke mean things behind his back, but as a man who didn't mind that he did. No apology, no introspection, just damage control. He left the witness stand and sat down beside Robyn, who was now hiding her face in her hands. Meri watched him go, her expression unreadable. But inside, something had shifted. The world was finally seeing Kody the way she had for years. The courtroom had barely recovered from the shock of Kody Brown's chilling testimony, when Mary's attorney made a sudden announcement. Your Honor, she said with a calm yet firm tone, we would like to call a surprise witness. The room stirred. Journalists leaned forward. Cameras adjusted. The judge narrowed his eyes. Name? Mary's attorney smiled. Christine Brown. The name dropped like a bomb. Gasps rippled across the courtroom.
Even Cody's head snapped around in disbelief. Robyn froze, her lips parting, her eyes locking onto the doors of the courtroom. And then she walked in. Christine Brown, the wife who had famously departed Kody and set up house in Utah, walked into the courtroom in a black dress and heels.
She stood tall, her eyes unwavering. She wasn't here to testify. She was here to speak the truth. Meri relaxed a little. She hadn't expected Christine to appear. Neither had Robyn, and it was apparent. Christine takes the stand. Christine lifted her right hand and swore under oath. Do you swear to tell the truth? The whole truth? And nothing but the truth? I do, she said, her voice steady. Meri's attorney approached with a calm smile. Christine, what is your relationship to the plaintiff? I was her sister wife for over 2 decades. Christine said. We raised kids together. We shared holidays. We shared heartbreak. We shared Kody. There was a trace of bitterness in her smile. And what led you to decide to come testify today? Christine's eyes flashed briefly toward Kody and Robyn. Because I saw what they did to her. And I remained silent for far too long. The pain behind closed doors. Christine drew a breath. Meri wasn't always easy. None of us were. But what Kody and Robyn did to her. It was more than rejection. It was erasure. The jury leaned in. There were whispers behind her back. Not just normal gossip. Strategic ones. Robyn once told me, if Meri keeps acting like this, we'll lose our credibility. She'd say things like, the viewers think she's crazy. Then she'd pass that on to producers. Christine faced the judge. I heard Robyn on the telephone once with a man from TLC. Spiel, she said. I believe Meri should get some time off from filming. She's not emotionally safe at the moment. The courtroom was quiet once more. And what did you do when you heard this? Meri's attorney inquired softly. Christine's voice broke. Nothing, I was scared. I knew if I spoke up, they'd turn on me also. She's not safe to be around the kids. Christine next remembered an incident that destroyed her faith in Robyn. My daughter truly came home in tears after visiting with Robyn's children, she said. Robyn said Meri cannot be alone with us, because she's sick. She asked if Meri was sick and had a disease. I didn't even know how to respond. Christine brushed away a tear. They poisoned the children's minds. They turned Meri into a threat, and they did it quietly, like pulling threads until the whole fabric unraveled. Meri sat motionless. But one tear rolled down her cheek. The real motive, control. Christine went on giving testimony. Once Meri began pushing back, demanding her share of the Coyote Pass property, protesting being left out of business discussions. Things heated up. Suddenly she was unstable. She was angry. And Robyn was always the one delivering that message. Why would Robyn do that? The attorney asked. Christine didn't hesitate. Because she wanted control of the family, of Kody, of the brand. And Meri was in the way. She moved in closer. So they made her the villain. The family meeting that changed everything. Then came the most incriminating moment. Christine held up a handwritten family meeting note. One that had never been disclosed. This was from a 2021 meeting about the future of Coyote Pass, she detailed. She read aloud. Robyn and I concur Meri shouldn't be included anymore. Too volatile. Not healthy for the show. Let's determine a clean method of adjusting. Christine showed it to the jury. It's Kody's handwriting, she stated. Robyn's signature is below. The judge accepted it as evidence. Meri sat down, her hands folded tightly. Robyn breaks in the courtroom. At the far side of the room, Robyn's body started to shake. Her face grew red. She spoke something roughly to Kody, who did not look at her. She took a tissue but could not cry. She jumped up. This is absurd. She's distorting everything. She's jealous. Miss Brown. The judge barked. Sit down. Robyn plopped into her seat, enraged and discomfited. Christine just raised her eyebrows and gazed back at the jury. That's the Robyn I know, she whispered. Secrets finally exposed. Meri's lawyer approached again. Christine, did you ever hear Kody talk about Meri in the way he spoke in the video seen yesterday? Christine nodded. Constantly he'd say such things as she's sucking the life out of us. Or she's only doing this for attention. And Robyn would chime in. They fueled each other's disdain. And did Meri deserve that?
Christine turned to Meri, actually looked at her. No, she was mourning. She was trying. And she was blamed for all of it. Even when she was quiet. A sisterhood reclaimed. Meri's eyes filled up. Christine's voice faltered. I didn't always stand up for her. And I regret that. But I'm here now. And I'm not scared anymore. She gazed at the jury. They didn't simply push Meri out. They broke her self-worth. They turned people against her. They gaslit her, shamed her, and informed the world that she was broken, when in fact, they were the ones destroying her. The jury sat in shocked silence. Closing the testimony, Christine the lawyer asked, if you could speak one thing to Meri at this moment, what would it be? Christine spun around in the witness stand and addressed her ex-sister wife squarely. I'm sorry, I should have spoken up earlier, but I see you now. And I believe you. Meri's mouth was shaking. She finally allowed the tears to fall. The courtroom was silent. The walls, which had been charged with tension and testimony until this moment, now contained only silence. With 4 bombastic days of proof, tearful testimony and family secrets torn apart in the public eye, the time had finally arrived. The jury was back. The verdict was in. Meri Brown remained serene at the plaintiff's table, hands clasped together, eyes glued to the front. Behind her were her legal team, a handful of close friends, and Christine Brown, whose unexpected reappearance the day before had turned everything around. On the other side of the aisle, Kody Brown looked down. His day one confidence was gone. His legs jiggled nervously beneath the table. Robyn sat next to him, ghostly pale and motionless, no longer whispering excuses or wiping imaginary tears. The bailiff requested quiet in the room. The judge arrived. The jurors walked in. 12 faces, 12 votes, one family's destiny. The verdict is read. The court clerk stood holding a white envelope. She walked up to the judge, who skimmed the contents of the paper for a moment, before giving a nod. Please stand, foreperson. A woman in her mid-40s with dark-framed glasses rose. Is the jury at verdict? Yes, Your Honor. And is the verdict unanimous? Yes, Your Honor. The judge nodded. Please read the verdict. The foreperson unfolded the paper, her hand steady. On the charge of defamation of character, we find the defendants Kody Brown and Robyn Brown liable. On the charge of intentional infliction of emotional distress, we find the defendants liable. On the charge of malicious interference with business, we find the defendants liable. Meri's breath caught in her throat. We award damages in the amount of $850,000 for reputational harm, emotional suffering, and lost business opportunities. The courtroom erupted. Gasps, murmurs. Journalists dashing out to send in breaking news notifications. Kody's face flushed. He grumbled under his breath. Robyn leaned back in her chair, shaking, but Meri, she closed her eyes, breathed in, and smiled, not due to the money, but because, at last, someone believed her. A verdict that rocked the sister wives' world outside the court. Supporters who had watched the trial from day one jubilated. News spread throughout social media. Meri Brown wins landmark case. Kody and Robyn found liable. Justice at last. Jury sides with Meri in defamation bombshell. #Meri wins trends worldwide on X, formerly Twitter. Within the courtroom, the gavel banged. Order in the court. He addressed Meri. Miss Brown, you have a right to make a final statement before we break up. Meri rose slowly. The room became silent again. Meri's final words. Her moment of power. She addressed the judge, then the jury. Thank you for hearing me, she said, her voice firm. Thank you for listening when so many others wrote me off. And then she spoke to Kody and Robyn, and her tone shifted. You tried to destroy me with secrets, she said, her eyes meeting Robyn's. You took my hurt and used it as your strength. You lied so much. You began believing the lies yourselves. She moved closer. Loyal. I was patient. I stood by a man who ignored me, and a woman who smiled while stabbing me in the back. Kody shifted in his seat. Robyn blew her nose, but kept her eyes dry. But I am not bitter, Meri went on. I am better, stronger, clearer. Holding Kody accountable, Meri addressed Kody straight on. Not only did you leave me emotionally, you facilitated a smear campaign because it was just easier than telling the truth. That you quit long before I ever quit. Kody did not look at her. You called me unstable, but you were the one who couldn't handle conflict unless you were the one controlling it. You punished me for expecting honesty. You punished me for not going away quietly. Meri shook her head. You didn't let me down as a husband. You let me down as a human being. Gasps from the audience. Christine nodded seriously in her seat, holding Robyn accountable.